Um, um, yo, I want to talk about something, and it is very important to me. But I realized, for a very long time, ever since I was young, you know, I want to ask a personal question. I want to ask a question to y'all, man. It's not personal. This is for anybody who's listening. Whenever you try to, how can I put this? Whenever you try to explain something to a person, or when you give out a certain testimony about something, or when you're kind of when you're kind of or when you're kind of excited about the information that you learn, and it helps you out in the long run, like when you use that information and you make that information applicable to your everyday life. It's like when you tell somebody about stuff like that. Have you ever realized when you explain that type of stuff to some people, like, do they get do they start to frown up or something, like they get mad and they start to frown up, all because you was trying to express yourself on what you've learned, and you using it, and you trying to use that information that you learned, and you try to apply it in your everyday life. Like when you try to explain it to somebody, and that person starts to frown up, or start to get mean and start to frown up. Have y'all ever experienced that? Like when you try to explain to somebody or express yourself, like the information that you learned and you're using it in your everyday life, then that person starts to frown up and start to get mad at you or something like that. Have you ever experienced that? Well, I have. I don't understand why, but I think I do. Maybe because number one, they think that the person who's frowning up at you, they think that you don't know what the hell you're talking about, or number two, it could be their egos. The egos could be bruised because because maybe they realize that they haven't put in the work like they should, or it's just their egos or something like that. Overall, number two is just their egos. Like number one, they're mad because they don't. Number one, they think that you don't know what you're talking about, and number two, it could be an ego thing. The main reason why they frown it up is because their ego, and because they think that you're such a low level. They believe that you should know all this knowledge, or they believe that you can't comprehend it because you're such a low level to them. See, I understand why they get mad like that, but you can't get mad at the progress. You know what I'm saying? People progress. People have different progresses in life, whether it's whether this person is a fast learner, or this other person is a slow learner. Everybody has their different progresses, whether it's fast, medium, or slow. That's how it is. That's how their body or their genetic code is built. That's how they built like that. But what grinds my gears is that when people frown up at you, and when you're trying to express what you've learned and you use it in your everyday life, anything for that matter, and they start to frown up and they start to get mad at you. That's what grinds my gears. It's like I'm not trying to maybe or number three, or going back, maybe number three, they think that the mean person, the person who's frowning up, maybe they think that you're trying to show out, but you're really not. You're not trying to show out. You're trying to convey to that so-called mean person that whatever you're learning, you're taking it to heart, and you try to make yourself into a better person. That could be it. Maybe that's the third reason. They think that you're trying to show out or something like that. No, I'm not. No, it's not. That's not the case. Especially me, I'm not trying to show out. I'm trying to show that I'm trying to become a better person. I'm trying to convey that these are the methods that I'm using in order for me to help myself to become a better person. I'm not trying to show out, because the things that I've learned, and for example, the stuff that I may have learned from that person who's frowning up, I'm using it. I'm actually learning it. I'm using it, and I'm applying it in everyday life. I'm not trying to show out and talk about, so, oh, I know this or no, I know that. No, I'm using this shit in real life, and the things that I've learned, hypothetically, for example, the things that I'm learning from other people, I'm using it in real life. So why get mad at me? And like I said before, they think that, since I'm a low level, they think that I should know this type of knowledge, or they think that I might be showing out, or they think that, or it could be their bruised ego. It could be their ego for the most part. It could be their ego. But overall, like I said before, man, when it comes to situations like this, you have to put your ego aside and, and just basically let that other person thrive and let the other person, become a better version of his or herself. Because it's all about progression. You know what I'm saying? Whether it's fast progression or slow progression. As long as you make progress in your life, that's all the fuck that matters. Put your ego aside and accept that person for who he is. No, put your ego aside and accept that person, you know what I'm saying? And accept that person for growing. It's all about growth. Fuck your ego. Accept that person's growth. If that person is growing in a positive way, you know what I'm saying? Give them props. You know what I'm saying? Congratulate them. You know what I'm saying? Respect their progress. As long as they're making progress, that's all that matters. Put your ego aside and let that person grow and thrive into the better version of him or herself. That's all that matters. Because I realize a lot of people got bruised egos out here. A lot of people think that you're not supposed to be on this level. A lot of people think that you don't belong to learn this or do that or get that. It's like, motherfucker, like, who are you? Like, number one, is like I said before, it's all about the progress. And number two, number one is all about the universe. Because the universe, is all about the universe. If the universe sees you as a person that's growing, you trying to make your way out of no way, the universe will open up a door for you. And you will be blessed. And number two is all about progress. It's all about progress. But number one is the universe. The universe sees that, God in the universe, universe for the most part, seeing that you're making progress in your life, doors will begin to open. A couple of doors will begin to open. There ain't nothing wrong with that. Because what they said before, hard work pays off. And for the most part, I ain't gonna lie, it does pays off. Hard work does pays off. Because while you're working hard, you're opening up doors for yourself. And once you start to open up doors for yourself, you get to network with different people. And by networking with different people, you can also create even more opportunities, even more doors for yourself. But I digress from that, man. But overall, man, when it comes to progression, respect that person's progress, whether it's fast or slow. As long as it's progress, there's no need to be mad, or there's no need to have a bruised ego, or there's no need to tell or to act like that person is lower than me and he needs to stay low. Like, no, that's not that's not what teaching is all about. That's not what being a great teacher is all about. Listen, a real teacher will not only respect his student's progress, but he wants that student to become better. He wants that student to become a better version of himself or herself. It's not all about it's not all about keeping your students or your apprentices at a lower rate. No, it ain't about that. It ain't about that. You want your student to thrive. You want your student to become a better version of himself. Because that's what it's all about, right? Each one teach one, right? For example, like in the Bible, John the Baptist. John the Baptist was the teacher, right? Now, who he taught? He taught Jesus the Christ, I believe. I could be wrong. I could be very wrong. John the Baptist was a teacher. He was a prophet. And if I'm not mistaken, he taught Jesus the Christ. Jesus Christ was the Lord of Lords, Kings of Kings. He was the chosen one. Even God spoke to John the Baptist and told him, he said, "This is my chosen son, who am I proud of," or somewhere along the lines. So, like I'm trying to say, and look what happened to Jesus the Christ. People still revere him to this day. Now, the Lord, the story of Jesus the Christ. People to this day still talk about him. People to this day still revere him. People still to this day read books about him, read the Bible about him. That lets you know his impact. That lets you know Jesus Christ's impact on this world. But I digress from that, man. All I'm trying to say is that, when it comes to people, who wants to frown up and all that stuff just because you're making strides or just because you're learning about different things, like number one, put your ego aside and, respect that person's grind, respect that person's progress. That's all I'm trying to say. That's all I'm trying to say because I've witnessed it, and I've also came across some people who would get mad at me just because I've learned some new things, and also make those new things that I've learned more applicable in my everyday life. And they would get mad at me. They would start to frown up. I don't know why. Maybe because they thought that I'm trying to show off, or trying to show off and trying to be better than somebody, or maybe it's just they bruised egos or something like that. But overall, it's all about my progress. That's all what it is. It's all about my growth and progress in this world. Because I realize in this world, money is important. It really is. Money is important. But what's more important is knowing who the fuck you are. Like Malcolm X said, know thyself and do for self. Socrates said it best, know thyself and do for self. And that's all I got to say, man. That's all I got to say about that. That's all I got to say. So, yeah, man. So, thank you so much, and have a good day.